We're back for our daily MLB best bets here for game number 4 of the World Series in Los Angeles, California between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So yesterday, we go 3-0. We sweep the board, but at what cost? We were looking at probably a 2-1 day up until the Freddie Freeman home run. That puts us the over total bags for Freddie. And I did say in the video yesterday, it's not, another hitter in baseball. I'd rather have in a clutch situation than Freddie Freeman. I know he had a bases loaded opportunity earlier in that game in that 18-inning extravaganza. But yeah, the Dodgers have won Game 3, and I think we kind of know how this is going now. But anyways, Game 4 of the World Series, Dodgers, Jays, Toronto down 2-1. Again, we cashed on Vladimir Guerrero. He had multiple base knocks. Again, took Freddie Freeman 8 at-bats, but he finally went over his total base mark. And at the same time, the Jays did cover 1.5. So now here we are again for game number 4. Folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB best bets here on the channel, regardless of the outcome here in Game 4 tonight. There will be a Game 5, tomorrow night. From there, we shall see. Again, the Blue Jays got to win one of these next 2 to send the series back to Toronto, and there's a lot of concerns I have right now about the Blue Jays. If you haven't yet, again, hit that subscribe button down below for more other content on the channel. Later today, our NBA best bets, so make sure to join us for that. Our college football predictions, over 4 hours of college football week 10 predictions. You're not going to want to miss that video. That's linked in the description down below, along with our NFL predictions coming out later today, and also our UFC fight night, Garcia versus Onama, full card predictions over on Greedo Plays MMA. Okay, on to the first for our 3 best bets. Again, we'll do either, let's say now, we're going to do a player prop, an over-under, and then we're going to do a money line / run line pick you'll see at the end of the video. Let's kick things off here with our first play. It's going to be Shane Bieber over 4.5 strikeouts. Now, this is more than just, the matchup with the Dodgers. The Blue Jays need depth out of Shane Bieber tonight. They need length. They need 6 innings. They do. They need 6 innings out of Bieber. Even if he's getting blown up, there's a chance, I highly doubt this happens, but there's a chance if Shane Bieber gets straight decimated at the beginning of the start, they just leave him out to dry. They just say, all right, we're going to have to come back 3-1, which is probably unlikely, but there's a chance, again, if Bieber gets totally shelled early, they have nowhere else to go. Yeah, Chris Bassett can still be, somewhat of a, guy you can throw in there. But, both of these pens are extremely backed up. Now, I know, right, there's pitchers on both sides that only pitched 1 inning in game number 3. Mason Fluharty for the Jays only pitched 1/3 of an inning and threw 14 pitches. Chris Bassett only threw 8 pitches. But still, regardless of that, you need Shane Bieber to go about 6. And that's the same thing that Dodgers are going to be asking out of Shohei Ohtani. I know Jack Dreyer threw 5 pitches, Treinen threw 12 pitches, Bonda only threw 3. Regardless, though, actually more Toronto than Los Angeles, because the Dodgers pitched a lot of guys just for a couple pitches. Toronto really used up a lot of that pen. We'll use that entire bullpen, and obviously got a lot of depth out of Eric Lauer. Now, I kind of knew the game was over, honestly, when Brendan Little came in. I'm very shocked Mookie didn't walk it off in the bottom of the 17th inning. We saw Little really struggle in Seattle and ultimately lose the Blue Jays game number 5, the game that I thought was going to potentially shift the ALCS back to Seattle. But obviously, Freddie Freeman hits the solo home run because, nothing ever can go badly for the Dodgers, right? 18-inning game, no problem. They're going to walk it off. They're going to walk off a World Series game for the 2nd consecutive season in a row, because of course. And, great on Will Klein. What an effort out of that dude. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, dealt with, runners on the top of the 18th, did get gifted a strike 3 call or a strike 2 call, late in that count against Heineman, but whatever. Will Klein pitched very well, and he's definitely the star of that game 3 for Los Angeles. Yeah, you can say it's Freddie Freeman. No, it's Will Klein. And again, I'll get into the logistics of everything here with, the lineups and whatnot, and how the Blue Jays played game number 3, and the fact that they pulled Bichette so early. They pulled Alejandro Kirk. You pull Addison Barger. There are a lot of decisions in that game that was just like, oh man, because again, when you went into extra innings, the Jays are out here, hitting Schneider, Lucas, Guerrero, IKF, Varsho, Heineman, Straw, Clement, Jimenez. I like Clement, I like Lucas, I like Guerrero, I like Varsho, but you have 4 starters plus Jimenez. You have 4 bench bats going multiple times around the order. Again, that's something for later in the video. Especially for this, though, again, right, the Jays will need length out of Bieber. They will. They're going to need about 6 innings. You don't have many guys who can pitch today, or at least pitch deep into this game. Fluharty can pitch, but I mean, Fluharty's more of just a specialist. He's going to come in and pitch against a couple lefties and come out. I mean, Fluharty hasn't gone a full inning in the postseason in about 4 appearances right now. I mean, I guess Jeff Hoffman's definitely not available, throwing 33 yesterday. Bassett's available, but I don't know how much you want to throw Chris Bassett. Little can probably go. No, he threw 30. You don't even want Little to pitch either, right? There's very limited arms that can go tonight. And the Dodgers were going to go as deep as, as they were going to say, we're going to pitch Yamamoto, which I thought actually that was going to backfire for the Dodgers. When I saw Yamamoto warming up, I was really intrigued because I thought that's when the Blue Jays were going to finally break through. Now, again, Dave Roberts was telling, what's his name, Rinaldi, I think? I don't know. The Fox Sports reporter that, I know it wasn't Rosenthal, it was the other guy, that, they were going to have to start throwing position players before Yamamoto threw his name into the hat, and obviously Yoshinobu started to warm up, and I thought, again, he was potentially going to have to replace Klein in the top of the 18th inning. My point with all this being is the Dodgers threw a lot of their arms for just 5 pitches. Again, Kershaw is available if they need him. Dreyer can pitch. Banda can pitch. Treinen can pitch. Probably Sasaki if you need him. The Jays don't really have that same luxury. So regardless of what happens in the game, if Bieber's getting beat up or not, the Jays might just need to leave him out there and just figure it out. And if they're leaving him out there, eventually he'll find a way to get 5 strikeouts. Guys, the last 2 games Bieber's pitched in the postseason, he's found a way to get 5 Ks. The one game he didn't, he got beat up in New York. That was game 3 of the ALDS. He gets pulled after only getting 8 outs, and out of those 8 outs, only 2 of them were strikeouts. But look what he's done after that in the postseason. 2 starts against the Mariners, and I get it, Seattle swings and misses a lot. They have a lot of guys who are just boomer bust candidates in terms of, either they're going to go yard or strike out. But in the 2 games Bieber started against the Seattle Mariners, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, and 8 Ks, and 3 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, and 5 strikeouts. This should come easy for Shane Bieber, in my opinion. You give him 6 innings, I believe, 5 strikeouts should come with that. It's just a matter of time, honestly, because I just don't see him getting pulled that early in this game. For Toronto, yeah, you really want to win this one. You have to win this game, but you need to find some length out of your starting pitcher tonight. You absolutely need to. And now you're facing Ohtani on the other side, which don't love that. But we'll get into that full breakdown in a second. For now, though, I'm going to go Shane Bieber to go over 7.5, ridiculous. 4.5 strikeouts here in game number 3. I know, there's a lot of tough guys to strike out in this Dodgers lineup, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to strike out Betts. Smith struck out 4 times yesterday. Got this close to hitting a walk-off home run. Teoscar Hernandez will strike out. There are guys in this lineup that Max Muncy will strike out as well. I mean, everyone yesterday had 8 at-bats. And also, again, I feel like we can expect a little bit of hangover early. I think as the game goes on, though, I think you'll see. I think it's going to start to unravel a little bit. And we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to go Kevin Gausman over 4.5 strikeouts. We go now to our next best bet. Yes, I'm still taking the over, though. It's only 8 runs. The games we've seen so far in this postseason, in this World Series, 2 of 3 have gone over. For as much as you may think there might be a hangover for the batters at the plate, I actually think it might be the opposite. Guys, Shane Bieber was warming up to pitch and potentially come in. If there was a 19th inning, they were going to go Shane Bieber, which I don't know who the hell Toronto would have started in game 4. If Bieber goes out there, he throws 2 innings, and regardless of who the winner of that game is, who the hell would the Blue Jays have started this game? It would have been Bassett, I assume, who only threw 8 pitches, which I guess that wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. And I was thinking, I don't know how much longer you want Little out there, but anyways, Gausman's already warmed up. He was getting ready to throw 18 hours before a game, and now he has to throw in game 4 of the World Series. On top of that, I think Ohtani's going to do an all right job, but yeah, Shohei was in the lineup and playing, and oh, by the way, was cramping. Dave Roberts said he's fine, but really couldn't steal base at the end of the game because that the leg was hurting him, and he's got to start too. Don't forget, Ohtani earlier in the season got pulled from a start. I believe it was in Colorado. Was it Colorado? It was a start, or Cincinnati, I think it was, with cramps, and he's going to have to pitch tonight. Regardless of that, the Dodgers, they saved a little bit of their arms in terms of Treinen and Dreyer only going, 10 pitches or less. Ohtani still has to go about 5 innings, though. You still have to give your bullpen a little bit of room. I mean, I think there's going to be more of a hangover for the starting pitchers. Ohtani, because of the potential injury, the fact that Ohtani was playing deep into that game. I mean, both guys were both starting pitchers in game number 4 were active participants in game number 3. Ohtani obviously has an amazing day. I mean, what can I say? Ohtani goes 4 for 4. There was not a single time in which Shohei Ohtani was not on the base paths in game number 3. It's ridiculous. It is. I mean, I don't know what to say. I want to hate, but I can't. I don't like the Dodgers. Not a big fan of Shohei. I can't hate on it though. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's made up for the poor hitting that he had earlier in the postseason. This guy was batting 100 a couple of weeks ago, actually about a week ago in the postseason. His average is now up to 283, and his OBP is now up to 424, and his OPS now in the postseason is 1.236. This is a guy, again, who was batting 138 going into the NLCS. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's actually unbelievable. Ohtani, again, yesterday, 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles and 5 walks. Oh my goodness. And I don't know why the Jays didn't walk Ohtani in the 7th inning. I don't know why they didn't do it. That made no sense to me. I don't know why they didn't. Whatever. I mean, again, hindsight's 2020, but you look at that 7th inning, you have 1 out. Just put him on base. But I get it. You don't want to put Ohtani on because here comes Mookie Betts, and that's the problem with walking Ohtani is because who's up after him. But oh man, and Dominguez serves Ohtani a meatball right down the middle. But my point again with the over is, sure, the hitters were out there. They were all active participants late in the game. But the 2 starting pitchers were very involved at the end of 18 innings yesterday. And that game ends at midnight? And you got to play 17 hours later, 16 hours later. You have to arrive at the ballpark, 10 hours after the game ends. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of sleep going on. I mean, in some circumstances, starting pitchers late in games, where I've heard this from, in all fairness, is Trevor Bauer. But I remember when Trevor Bauer used to do his vlogs, and if there's an extra inning game or a late night game and he had to start the next day, he'd go back to the hotel. And he said, at least this is what happened when actually Bauer was with the Dodgers back, a couple of years ago. And when he was in Cincinnati as well, Bauer would say, Dodgers starting pitchers back then, or Red starting pitchers, they would go back to the hotel right before, or if a game was getting late, they'd go to the hotel back in the 6th or 7th inning. I'm sure in a World Series game, the fact that you're starting at 5 o'clock, you'd probably stay throughout the entire thing. But hell, the Jays and the Dodgers essentially played 2 baseball games yesterday, playing 18 innings, and it's not like anybody could go home. A, it's the World Series, you probably wouldn't go home, but B, they were asked, the Jays were asking Bieber to pitch. Ohtani is hitting in this game. So, it's a difficult circumstance for both starting pitchers because, they were both thinking that Ohtani was playing the game. Bieber thought he was going to have to pitch. That's another thing. Bieber's already warmed up. He already got ready. And now all of a sudden he's got to shut down and say, okay, hold off on that for 16 more hours. And then you can get going again for your game 4 start. At that point, again, you have to start Bieber now. But at that point, you're like, you'd rather Bieber have pitched and you go Bassett, because now what is Bieber going to be like? That's what I'm concerned with. Ohtani, I think Ohtani's going to struggle too, don't get me wrong. Ohtani's been better so far in the postseason than Shane Bieber has. Obviously, the last start that he had against the Milwaukee Brewers, the greatest day in baseball history. It was pretty phenomenal, I cannot lie. 3 home runs, and obviously Ohtani just casually goes out there, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits and 0 runs and 10 strikeouts. It's ridiculous. But that's the type of thing he can do to you. Bieber, I spelled it out earlier. Bieber can do damage. Don't get me wrong. He pitched fairly well against Seattle in terms of strikeout numbers. Well, the Yankees start in Game 3 in the Bronx. I get it, Mickey Mouse Stadium, but he went to New York and gave up 2 runs and 5 hits on 2 and 2 2/3 innings. Against the Mariners, he had decent starts. The second one, though, gave up 2 runs and 3 2/3 and 7 hits. Strikeouts should be fine. Jays are going to need depth out of Bieber, and that's part of the reason why I'm going with the over 2. They need to leave Bieber out there. Unless he gets completely demolished and Shane Bieber's out there giving up 8 runs, which I highly doubt happens with the Dodgers, who knows? Probably not. They have to leave the guy out there, and he's going to have to manage. Even if he gives up 5 runs in 6 innings, I think they're going to have to keep him out there. At that point, you're kind of waving the white flag on Game 4. You got to win 5, and then take it back to Toronto, a whole new series like you did in the ALCS. Obviously, Toronto needs this game, but I don't know, man. I don't. We'll get to that in a second. My point being with all this, I believe Ohtani's going to struggle a little bit. I believe Bieber is going to struggle a lot more. I feel like him warming up and trying to get ready to pitch in that game yesterday and thinking he was going to pitch, right? I mean, Little gets out of the bottom of the 18th inning. Yep, 19th inning comes. Bieber's going to be asked to go at least 6 innings. I mean, again, I don't think the game would have gone to the 25th inning, but if it had, that's what Shane Bieber's assignment was. And something that's not going to get talked about from game number 3, I mean, Will Klein deserves all the respect in the world, okay? Bloomington, Indiana native, right? So Indiana keeps on winning, just in sports in general. Shout out to the Hoosiers and the Pacers. They're 0-3 right now, but it's okay, right? Will Klein dominates. He deserves all the respect in the world. You know who else who's not going to get talked about now? Eric Lauer. And I get it, Lauer, pitched in games throughout the season for the Blue Jays. At least he pitched way more for the Jays than Klein did for Los Angeles this season. But I mean, Eric Lauer went out there through 4 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits and gave up 0 runs, and kept Toronto in that game. And yes, again, there was a lot of pressure points for Will Klein. Eric Lauer went out there in the bottom of every inning, shutting the door, and I get it. Like, there were some, wall scrapers hit close to him. Obviously, Freeman hit one to the track. Teoscar hit one hard. Will Smith hit one that, I think we all thought left the building initially or left the park initially. But Eric Lauer is not going to be talked about in the same, sense that Will Klein's going to be talked about. And yeah, Klein won the game and he was tremendous. Eric Lauer deserves a lot of respect, too, for how he pitched in the World Series in Game 3. But again, both Klein and Eric Lauer, ridiculous stuff. I just think that both teams are going to see a lot of success at the plate, and if the previous games we've seen in this postseason are indications, yeah, we're going to see quite a bit of runs. I mean, Game 1, Trey Savage, Blake Snell, 15 combined runs. Game 2, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Kevin Gausman, only 6 runs, and obviously those runs come late off of the Jays. And then obviously Game 3, that was 5-5 for, that game was tied at 5-5 for about 10 innings. Actually, yes, for 10 innings, and then eventually, right, Freddie Freeman hits the solo home run to end it for Los Angeles, and clearing our 1.5 total bag mark as well. Just saying. But obviously 11 total runs, and in the 9 innings there were 10. So I think the over hits. I think it does. I know there were a combined 37 runners left on base yesterday, which is ridiculous. Toronto had 15 hits. Los Angeles had 16 hits. LA hit 4 home runs. Blue Jays obviously just hit the Alejandro Kirk home run. So shout out to Los Pollos for hitting that one out. But I think, I know you might think, regression after 31 combined hits yesterday. I don't think so. No, I think there's going to be more runs scored because I believe it's more difficult for a pitcher to come back and try to pitch the next day after Gausman. I'm serious. The Gausman thing really I keep saying Gausman. The Bieber thing, he just concerns me so much. You're thinking you're pitching, you're warming up, you're the next guy in the bullpen. Like, Yamamoto is warming for the Dodgers, but Yamamoto is not projected to start again until game number 6, which is kind of ridiculous. I was thinking, where's Blake Snell during all of this? Anyways, I don't love it for Shane Bieber. And I think at the same time, Ohtani, he said in his post-game interview, I just want to go to sleep. Well, in all fairness, Ohtani's not catching Z's until about 2:30 in the morning. No one is from that game, obviously. So I think that's going to be more difficult on the pitchers. Both lineups have really dominated so far in the series, and at least other than extra innings yesterday. I think we see over 8 runs at -110 as we go on to our final best bet of the video. I hate it. I have to, though. Yeah, Dodgers -1.5. There's going to be a lot of runs scored tonight, guys, and I don't think the Blue Jays are going to be able to match what the Dodgers are able to put up. I hate to say it. I hate it. I hope the Jays win. I don't think they will, though. I think the Dodgers win tonight. Approximate score 7-4. 7-4 will be my final score prediction in this game. I think the Dodgers win. I think the Dodgers win, and not to beat a dead horse here, the Shane Bieber warming up and pitching, and now having to turn it around 16 hours later and start a big Game 4 for this team. Ooh. There's a reason also, by the way, Shane Bieber was the 4th guy in the Jays rotation to get the ball in the World Series. This team, in all fairness to Max Scherzer, he pitched very well yesterday, and Scherzer gave them quality innings, like he did in the ALCS, but this team felt more confident handing the ball to a 41-year-old Max Scherzer. I know he's got the experience. He's pitched in 3 World Series prior to this as well, but still, this team had more confidence giving the ball to a 41-year-old Max Scherzer than they did Shane Bieber in Game 4. And you might think, it doesn't really matter because, they both had to pitch anyways. No, it does matter because look at the rotation and look who comes back up to pitch Game 7. If it gets there, I don't think we're going to get 7 in all fairness. I think we probably get 6, I think. I think the Jays are going to get think they're going to get tomorrow, I think. And I think the Dodgers probably shut the door in Game 6. Maybe not. Maybe they just end it tomorrow. But anyways, it's important that, yes, they chose Scherzer over Bieber because Max is going to pitch again if the series potentially goes 7. That's the difference between the third man and a 4-man rotation and the fourth man. Like, whoever the 4-man is in a 4-man playoff rotation is not going to see the ball twice in a series. Max Scherzer will, though, if it gets there. So that should show you the confidence level, at least, in Shane Bieber, and now he has to go for this game. The Dodgers, I mean, I think they rather have Glasnow start than Ohtani, especially because Ohtani's going to be doing other things, and he does more than just pitch. Also, for Shohei, too, he can be a nasty reliever in Game 7 of the World Series if he needs to be. Again, I don't think we're going to get there, but that's kind of part of what they have Ohtani doing, I believe. But as well, right, Shohei has to swing and get on base 9 times as well. He's got more duties than just pitching. So, yeah. Anyways, I think the Dodgers win this game, and I think they cover. I know that, the Jays, a lot of questionable decisions. You had to pull George Springer, obviously. He got injured. That's another thing we need to talk about. I'll, hold on to that for a second. Pulling Bo Bichette, I get it. There's some injury concerns, but Bichette was literally 2 for 4, and you bring Isaiah Kiner for Leffa in, and there were so many big opportunities. IKF was in, man, and you really wish you had Bo Bichette in the 4 spot hitting behind Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, Vladdy had no protection in the lineup because IKF is batting behind him. IKF usually bats 8th. You pull Alejandro Kirk to pinch run Heineman for him. Yes, Heineman is slightly faster, but I mean, really, you're pitching your pinch run. I get it. Kirk is slow, but really, we're gonna pinch run your catcher who had a home run earlier in the game. Addison Barger, you bring in Miles Straw. I'm just like, I guess, as a pinch runner, but the damage Addison Barger has done in this postseason, and you bring in Miles Straw in, who was just an automatic out, and Miles Straw has been an automatic out. I mean, Miles Straw is a utility guy who you start him if you need to, but he is a good fielder. He is a pinch runner. He's not a guy who's supposed to be hitting 4 times in the World Series through innings 9 through 18. That's not what Miles Straw is out there to do. You'd much rather have Barger, and I get it, Straw's a better defender, and that was partially the reason why they pulled Barger. But man, I mean, the Jays, they did shoot themselves in the foot. They did. And don't get me wrong, right? There was some weird stuff that went on in this game. Obviously, I think the umpiring crew was horrible for both sides. It was worse for the Blue Jays, in all fairness. But the Dodgers did get their fair share of bad calls. Like the strike 1 call to Max Muncy in extra innings was absolutely ridiculous. You know what else was ridiculous? The delayed strike call on Dalton Varsho. And, Bo Bichette's caught up in the middle between first and second base. He thinks it's a walk. Everyone in the building thought it was a walk. But 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Ha! Huh? Whatever, dude. It's fine. I'm actually not gonna call rigged. Okay, you thought I was going in that direction. I'm really not. Okay. The Jays had many opportunities to win the game. Was it sketchy early? Oh, it was. And was that strike 2 call on was it Heineman? Was it Varsho? The strike 2 call Heineman was not really. Should have been bad. Yeah, that should have been a ball. Not really tripping on it though. Miles Straw was in the on deck circle. If that was Ernie Clement in the on-deck circle, I would be complaining about it. Miles Straw would have came up and he would have struck out anyway. Yamamoto would have came out on 2 days rest, dead arm and everything. But I think Yamamoto still would have found a way to strike out Miles Straw. So I'm not. And by the way, if anything, that strike call that Klein got just, I guess halted Yamamoto's potential chance to 100% win the World Series MVP. Because if Yamamoto came in there and got a strikeout 2 days after pitching in Game 2, that was an automatic World Series MVP for the guy. That's why he was doing it. No, he wanted his team to win. I don't know how Yamamoto, by the way, would have gone out there. Whatever. That's why I was hoping that the Jays could just get 1 more inning out, because I think they could have won. Regardless, though, questionable coaching decisions behind our side. Is Springer playing? So George Springer again has to depart a postseason game. We know he's playing banged up. He's not 100% at all. Latest report on George Springer is that he's going to be undergoing an MRI due to right side discomfort. This will be a game time decision, it feels like. Obviously, Springer is in the top 10 all time for most postseason home runs in MLB history. You need this guy in the lineup, but he's been very banged up. He couldn't get that MRI right away because the World Series game never ended, so we assume he'll get the MRI sometime this morning, and it will be a game time call if he's going to play or not. You'd hope he plays, and obviously he's just DHing, but if not, who starts for Toronto DHing? It's Ty France, or is it Schneider? No, it's definitely not Ty France. I mean, Who do they pull out the bench, though, to pinch hit? Because you don't have another lefty off your bench. It might be Ty France over Schneider. Oh, goodness. Or is it IK? Oh, no. No, I know what they do. They would just DH Bo Bichette and IKF would play in the infield. Ooh, man, yeah, a lot's going on in the wrong direction, in my opinion, for the Blue Jays, unfortunately. They need a lot of things to go their way today. And yesterday we took the +1.5. It cashed. I'm going to take the -1.5 for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Money lines really aren't playable. Jays are +150. Dodgers are -180, but I do think the Dodgers win by more than a run. I think they'll win by 2. I think they win by 3. I think 7-4 is a very reasonable final score here. The Shane Bieber factor is really concerning me. And what do the Jays have left in the bullpen? I know, again, both bullpens have been heavily critiqued. I've said, the Dodgers, if you're going to beat the Dodgers, you need to get to that bullpen, and that's the truth. Right now, the Dodgers pen in this game, not for Game 5, not for the rest of the series, in this one individual game in Game 4, the Dodgers bullpen is more set off, or is better set off than what Toronto's got. This might not be the cream of the crop, but the Dodgers can still throw Treinen, who's been quietly getting a little bit better. He gave up a run last night, but still, I think they're kind of okay with Treinen right now. I think Sasaki's a starter. He can throw back-to-back days even after throwing 30 pitches yesterday. You can throw Dreyer. You can throw Bonda. You can throw Kershaw. Who can the Jays throw? Hoffman threw 33 pitches, and again, he's not a starter, an active starter like Roki Sasaki. You can throw Chris Bassett. There's a reason, though, Bassett got wedged out of the starting rotation in the postseason. You can throw Mason Fluharty, who is a lefty-lefty specialist, essentially. Who else can you throw? Louis Varland, maybe. He threw 20 pitches. You can probably throw Louis Varland. Other than that, you don't have another pitcher you can throw. You absolutely need Shane Bieber to give you length, and I just don't know if he's the right guy for that job. Ohtani on the other hand, again, if you want to go scripted route too, it's a fairy tale ending. It's a storybook. Ohtani Game 4. Oh, the World Series. He pitches. He hits. By the way, again, Ohtani's yet to make his pitching debut in the World Series. You don't think he's going to dominate? I think he's going to give up some runs because of the factor of, the fatigue factor. Shane Bieber has, way more fatigue in my opinion. I know Ohtani might be injured a little bit. He's going to be cramping. Shane Bieber was, pumping 90 plus in the bullpen 16 hours before a start. Thinking, not just throwing a pen, by the way, thinking he was going to go and pitch in a baseball game. Wasn't even on Ohtani's mind. I got to go Dodgers here. Unfortunately, I think they'll take advantage of the 18-inning game, and I think really that's kind of what swings all the momentum. In a game like that, I know the last time there was an 18-inning game in the World Series, right? It was in Los Angeles, right? And the Dodgers won that game against the Boston Red Sox. And obviously they came back to lose the World Series later on in that postseason in the World Series. But it's a little different this time around, That Dodgers team was, batting Max Muncy in the 3 spot. He hit the home run, obviously. But you know what I mean? That team's not even comparable to what they have now. It's just, they'll be fine. And that was a 92-win Dodger team, too. I don't even know what my point is there. My point being, I don't even know why I compare Dodgers teams. My point being, I don't think the Jays can win. I don't think the Jays can win the night after I'm in this spot like the Red Sox did back in 2018. Just because look at the lineups and look who's pitching. Hey, come on now. I shouldn't have compared to 2018 at all, but just thought I'd mention it. Anyways, unfortunately, guys, we are taking the Los Angeles Dodgers to cover 1.5. Oh man. We will see you tomorrow night. Folks, thank y'all for watching our MLB or our World Series Game 4 predictions or best bets here on the channel. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did this great thing in the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily MLB best bets. Could be our final MLB best bets video of the season tomorrow. We shall see. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.